Hello, this is Binni here. Thanks for joining the session. Today is one of those rare streaming session that I like to do, and I like to do this very often because I think that for trading, we need to be updated with what's happening, with the latest news. And since I'm trading, I may as well just stream it live to let you know what I'm looking at. How are you guys? Let me know in your this chat that everything is okay and you can hear me. And as usual, right, I would just ask one question: have you had your lunch yet? I know that 1 o'clock is a bit weird, but 1 o'clock is also the time where we receive our signals, our alert. By looking at 1 o'clock and real time live in the afternoon, probably you can do a lot more planning, isn't it? I wanted to cover also stocks because you know that for our method, which is the alien wash, all right, we also cover the stocks, and I guess that you might be interested in what's happening, in the stock market. All right, have you invited your friends? I mean that now is a weird time because it's the lunch hour. Your friends might be um, having lunch or working. Okay, all right. I would try to announce it earlier so that you can share with your friends on the streaming session. But later on, you can just take that YouTube, link and then share it with your friends, right? All right. So first thing on my screen is this very important news. So we sort of expected that Fed will increase rates 25 basis points. So this is something that we talk about. What's very important is not about the 25 basis point. What's important is going ahead, whether Fed sees another increment, and then of course, what Fed perceived, right, in terms of the so-called banking crisis. I wouldn't say it's a banking crisis yet, but obviously because of the rising rates, there are some problems with the banks. Right now, what's happening is that in after what Powell said, right, was Yellen came out and to talk about this blanket deposit guarantee. I think that you know that for Singapore banks, if you have some of money there per account holder, all right, regardless of how many accounts that you have, right, per account holder, you're gonna have this SDIC guarantee of 75,000. Okay, but for US it's slightly a little bit different, right? They have this 250,000 here. Okay, that means to protect the savers with balances above 250,000. Okay, that is the deposit insurance that Yellen was talking about last night. Basically, Yellen came out, and I thought that she, if good, right, she doesn't need to talk about anything. But anyway, Yellen came out, and I also don't know what dress she was wearing. I hope that she wasn't wearing the purple dress because every time I see her in purple, it's not a very good thing for me because there was this night that I made a lot of losses, and she was wearing purple dress to announce whatever things that she said. Anyway, this photo has this purple dress there. All right. Okay. What she said is that no, we are not going to increase, okay, the deposit guarantee. Okay, and that basically caused the banks to move down. Right. One of the things is to take a look into this ETF. Okay, so this ETF is KBW, which is the like the ETF of major banks and all those smaller banks, right? Idea of what I'm looking at, right, in terms of the banks. Okay, because I think that, as you know, my style, I want to have a little bit more in terms of proof to know what the market is looking at. Take a look at this, a set of these blue color lines. Okay, so these blue color lines, they are like a support or resistance lines of some of the previous lows and high. Okay, in fact, that what happened last night or maybe the day before. Okay, and I always say that we need to use all these prices to sort of find like price levels that's important or make sense to them. right? So therefore, what happened last night was it attempted to go up, okay? But what's more important to me was the day before, last night, which was somewhere around here, there was to me a break of that very strong support level. That means break below of this blue line here, the zone of blue lines that I've drawn in, right? And it retested. That means the high retested into the resistance level, which is right now was a support and right now became a resistance, and that to me is not a very good thing. Okay, I would consider for the U.S. banks. Okay, I won't say that is the S&P 500. I won't say it's tech stocks. I will only say that for the U.S. banks, all right, a very important price level have been broken based on this ETF here. Okay, now the other line to take note of is this equidistance channel here. All right, now this equidistance channel almost going to be like the last barrier of support, right? Which essentially will give us a good view on whether the investors or the major traders, right, as being a support for them to buy, or that it's just a trigger for them to sell further. Okay, so the basis is that a strong support had been broken. It's already broken by going below the blue line, right? Then I would see this particular equidistance channel as being the last zone of defense, which in other words, right, if this level is broken, then that's not very good news. Okay, because we have another like 2 more months or 1.5 months before the next Fed meeting. All right, anything can happen. Right, we just do not know what's going to happen at this moment. All right, but it seems that from the dot plots and as well as the CME Fed Watch 2, all right, it seems that the market is perceiving right now, as not going to high rate. Okay, now let me just show you what's happening in the CME tools. So just give me a minute here. Okay, now this is the May, all right, May data right now. That means that current probability, and we know that all this probability can move because you remember what happens during the early March where Powell had made a testimony, right, and it was almost looking like a high probability of 50 basis point high. Then once with that banking thing, as in with Signature Bank coming into the picture and First Republic, then it's almost like switch to a 0% probability of a low probability of a 0 basis point hike, and eventually, right, as things cool down, it's a 25 basis point. Okay, all right. Then if this is the case here, I would think, all right, that perhaps we take a look at right now at this moment, there could be a chance that the market is just looking at no rate hike at this moment. Okay, if no rate hike, okay, then with like a calm down in the banking sector, all right, that means this so-called banking crisis, then I think that there's only one thing. Okay, there's only one thing, which is perhaps, all right, that the stock would temporarily go up. Okay, all right. I won't say that this is the point to be looking for long-term investment. I will only think that this could be a point where, again, to reinforce what I've been talking about, okay, which is a short-term trading, to reinforce that perhaps right now we can be looking into a potential long stock scenario on a short-term setting, okay, short-term trading. All right. This is to say that as long as there's no other news that came out with any banking stuff or the banks or whatever thing, right? Then perhaps that we could just trade technically, right, with a short-term view to be looking at a long index. Okay, I wouldn't say stocks. I would really think that it's probably the long the index scenario here. Okay, all right. So that's my argument based on the current setting. Okay, meaning that the market is probably looking at no rate hike in May. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is that if we have a look into again, right, the banking ETF here, it is temporarily at a support based on the equity sense channel. All right. Now, in other words, we might have a trading opportunity. That means trading opportunity to potentially consider, all right, long banks. Okay. Or if we don't want to do into a long index, all right, and that means we don't want to pick into a individual stocks, all right, then we long the index. Okay, but okay, short term. That means that still going back into the short-term basis. Okay. Now, if you ask me, all right, what kind of stocks am I looking at, right? I would want to avoid the banks. I mean, just like I say, right, you might want to consider to long the banks, okay? Because of that, it could be viewed as oversold. And then based on what I'm seeing in KBW, it is near to a support. All right, that's why I make the remark could be long bank. But if you ask me, all right, then will my preference be looking at the bank? The answer would be no. I would choose either an index, okay, or I would choose a stocks that is not related to the bank. I don't want to be in the eye of the typhoon. Okay, that means I don't want to be right there. Okay, I just want to be maybe at the outskirts. Okay, all right. So that's my stand. So therefore, Marcus asks, is Nasdaq the best index to long? Okay, I would perhaps think so, but that's not something where I'm looking at. Okay, in fact, that later on I'll be showing you the index that I'm looking at, and probably we can consider like a short-term type of a trade here. Okay, all right. Now, next, because we have a lot of we are mainly in Singapore, I think that the next thing we might want to do is to take a look into STI. I thought that it is a bit more relevant to take a look into STI, partly because that this STI has a lot of banks inside. Okay. So I can see Dr. Sandeep lives here. Hi, Dr. Sandeep, long time no see. Okay, because I'm not sick, so therefore I can go and see a doctor. Okay, all right. In STI here, okay, what's important is that STI is currently at a very strong support. Okay, let me just present in terms of technically. Okay, I think that looking at STI does give us a little bit more in terms of whether the current bank stocks or currently what are the stocks that we can look at, especially if you're in the Singapore market. All right. Now, STI known to be in a horizontal range. That's something that we've known of. All right. The high was about 3,400 and the low was about 3,000. That's the key thing. But most important, as we take a look into the shorter term perspective, all right, we saw that there was a uptrend here. All right, so there was a few of the higher high and the high here. Right, what's very interesting is this low here. So that means the current point here. All right, this low is a lower low if you compare that to the previous low. Okay, so let me just draw that again. So this one is a lower low if you compare that to the previous low. Okay, but the environment, the whole thing, the whole setting as a horizontal level, all right, that means it's just a ranging situation. Now, coming into this place here, this is a very strong support. Okay, this was a very strong support, and right now is a very strong resistance because we've seen the whole of December hovering around here, finally to have a final push. Right, I see this final push as a like unloading. Okay, because they probably started to buy into here during the November period, hover for a while, and then had a final push, right, in Jan to unload the position, and therefore this came down as a like a drop, right, to make a lower high. Then in other words, if price get resisted around the 3,200 area, 3,220 area, right, then this will become a lower high as compared to the previous high, and I'm looking at potentially priced heading down again. Okay, now this is also the reason why I said that if there could be a long index, okay, which is short term, to me it's just probably not more than a week, and we just trade in terms of that movement. But then I think that perhaps we might have a sell signal into the STI, or again into some other bank related index, all right, heavy on bank related index, like for example, the Dow Jones, right, and as a sell, and of course we wait for that wash and rinse to happen. Okay, meaning that where is that wash and rinse to happen, right? That's very clear. Okay, we just have to wait for this place here. That means that for price, right, to again cross down to below 3,180. That means it's not very far. Right now, we were just hovering here, and to cross down below 3,180. And that becomes a chance, right, to go short into the index or into the banks. Okay, then back into the next question. A lot of us would be asking, then if this is the case, you are asking us perhaps to consider the downside. Then if I want to again enter for a long-term investment, all right, what should I be looking at? Okay, now my stand is this, right, because I said before, I don't know how to buy things when they become very expensive. In fact, it makes a lot more sense when things are dropping, for example, with a discount of 20% or even discount of 30%, and that makes sense to pick up something. Okay, if we see what happened previously, that means previously, if we track the previous down, right, STI was down about 10%. Okay, the previous round. Okay, on grounds that there's no crisis. Okay, that means that things as it is happening normally. All right, and the other one is if you project from the high to the low, all right, then that's down about 14%. Okay, now if this is the case, we do a little bit more simulation here. We assume that it's going to be down like 10%. It's going to be here, all right, at 10%, and that's probably 3,060. Okay, my own calculation based on the other method was 3,080. Okay, but if you do on that 10% calculation, that's about 3,060. I would think it's about the same, right? Whether it's 3,060 or 3,080, that's really about there. Okay, so that's the first level. Assuming that we have a normal trading condition, no crisis, no nothing, all right? Things stays true as it is for that period of time. Okay, now that would be the first place I want to consider, maybe to pick up on a bit of a short-term rebound, or if I'm building a portfolio, all right, and that's where that would be the first point for me to look at. Not anywhere near here, all right, because I've received some questions, right, of people asking me, of RMs and their brokers asking them to buy. Okay, I think I have no comments on this, but my own personal experience is that when there's a discount, why not just wait for that discount to happen? Anyway, I don't need to buy this thing, okay, because I already have something already. I don't need to really pick up something, right? So may as well just wait. Okay, now that's the 10%. Now assuming that we're gonna have the 14%, and that's also a very simple calculation. All right, then we are looking at around 2,900 level. Okay, 2,920, 2,950, plus minus around that level. All right, I would think it makes sense to be waiting for these two levels here. And there might be a chance that it might just go a little bit lower to the 2020 June high. Okay, but in other words, all right, if you take a look at what I'm drawing out here in terms of the higher time frame, okay, in terms of the higher time frame, what I'm literally drawing out here, right, it's that if you think, okay, that generally between 2020 to 2022, okay, 2020 was the COVID period to 2022, all right, that was a recovery of the worst period that we had, okay, during the COVID time. Okay, and what I'm mapping out here in STI on a like a normal trading condition is probably a very nice pattern that allows you to buy. Okay, all right. So with this session, I also set in my own target, and probably that's some of the key levels I'll be looking at really for to start building the position. Okay, all right. I'm just gonna pause here for a while before I move on to the next index. All right. And if you do have questions, you can just ask me here first in the chat box. Okay. All right. I will just wait for your questions and then move on to the next market that I'm looking at. All right. In fact, for myself, I'm a lot more bullish, all right, in Hong Kong and in China versus in US and in Singapore. Okay. If there should be a problem with the banks, for example, then Singapore, I wouldn't want, I mean, unless the banks come to a very, very attractive levels. Okay, and I talk about what are attractive levels in one of my recorded videos. All right. Otherwise, I'd be more interested in the REITs, because REITs had corrected, and right now, with this 25 basis point hike, right, there might be a chance the Fed would not be hiking anymore. That means this is like a terminal rate. That's it already. All right. So we can just observe a little bit more. But if this is true, then the REITs, they are going to benefit. Okay. Later on, I'll be showing you also the as REITs, some of the average as REITs in terms of the patterns to look at. But this is HSI. That means I'm looking at HSI for a short term. In fact, that I mentioned before that 19,300 was the level I'm looking at, and price hover around this 19,300 for a while already. Today, in this particular week chart, that means that today in this week chart here, it has the like a pattern, okay, the candlestick pattern that I love. Okay, what is this kind of candlestick pattern? I think you know, right? I like this kind of a long tail thing, all right, where the long tail tells you one thing. Okay, there was a wash and rinse. Okay, all right. So where is this long tail in terms of HSI? And I was just waiting for that long tail to happen. Okay, and I said before that I'm very, very patient. I want to wait for things that is on my terms. That means I want to see things that's on my term, right? So this would be one thing, which is this long tail here, that's on my term. Okay, and I was happy to see it here. It means that there was a huge rejection along this 19,300 level that I pointed out. Okay, and probably in the lower time frame, so those some people might have chosen to sell, then they will be trapped here. Okay, and we know that, for example, with this long tail, we still need to move up, right, above the wash line, and that's a very clear wash line to cross above, right, and that's about 20,000. Okay, so this was a 20,000 mark, right? That HSI needs to break above to confirm, right, that short term it might be actually heading up for the short term. All right. Now again, that Is this the best level to look for a medium term to long term buy in the HSI? My answer would be no. Okay, I'm still looking for like a trading. Trading means to me like a few days, all right, a week, even on the very same day. Okay, I'm not saying that this time round is the time for you to enter, to really buy a lot, buy in, all right. But if you look at the price movement, all right, versus buying here, and then of course, right, what you're gonna see at this price here would be better. Okay, and I can talk about, when you asked me earlier, this year, all right, and you told me that you're interested in the Hong Kong market, and I strongly asked why are you interested, okay, and that would have saved you this whole duration here. Okay, but if you really ask me whether like for long term, and I want to consider building a portfolio, all right, then I wouldn't be choosing this point here. Okay, how would I do that? Okay, again, as a basis, right, as a basis of to look at prices, a lot of time, all right, those who are not investing, okay, and those who are not trading, all right, actively, okay, they would get very interested, all right. I mean, not all, but those very, I would say, those who knows how to get a discount type of a investor, right? They would be very interested when price again reach a level that they miss buying. Okay, perhaps they miss buying at this level here, which is about 15,000. So if HSI again comes into the 15,000, that would catch their attention, I think. And I think probably they might be coming in to pick up some, okay, at a low. Okay, so if you ask me, right, is this level that you're looking at? The answer is yes. Okay, will it go below it? It doesn't really matter, because even if it goes below it, all right, then I will just probably choose to average a little bit, because if you look at the whole value proposition, all right, in terms of what happened to Hong Kong, right? In terms of the previous down that happens during, 08 and 09, right? Versus what's happening now, all right, that's 55%. That's like quite a nice discount. Okay, but if you say that, okay, it will continue to go down perhaps to that 60%, to me that is also near the low. If you look at the whole setting here, all right, it's like buying Tencent, not at $700, but buying Tencent when it goes maybe like to $100, or to 150. So why not? Because Tencent will have actually grown so much more than it was in 08 and 09. Okay, I mean, whether price would go back up into COVID period, I have no idea. But if price really goes down to the COVID period, then that's an opportunity. All right. So nobody really knows whether it will. Okay. The only way to do that is the starting point. As long as you don't start wrongly, because if you start wrongly and you buy at a high, when it starts dropping, right, you won't have that courage to go in again. Okay, unless that money is unlimited, all right, or you have no fear, right? But if you have a good starting, for example, you start off near to, let's say, a 50% discount, right? And when it dropped again by another 50%, okay, so you are buying at the 50% mark and 100% mark, right? So basically, you get a discount of 50%, you get a discount of 100%, you average, you get 75%, and that's really a good price, and you sleep better. Okay, and this is usually how I buy things. All right, I mean for long term. Okay, not for trading purpose. Okay, all right. That's the HSI. The other thing that I want to talk about is REITs. Okay, let me just choose a few REITs to show it to you. Here we go. Okay, the more recent REITs that that I've been buying REITs every time when it deep, right? And I talk about December buy REITs because December would be the period that people goes away for holiday, and usually it's a bit like quite how to say prices will dip a little bit, and you do get a bit of a discount, especially on those long tails, etc. It didn't really happen for 2 years already, because during the COVID period, people aren't going away, so the REITs prices has been quite strong. But last year, people started to go for holiday, right? And that became possible again, right? So we had a bit of a tail in that REITs thing. Okay, I would just pick up randomly, but just explain, why I'm looking at the REITs, and then what are the things to look at the REITs. Okay, there are some REITs which I think would be better in terms of the DPU. Some doesn't. But whatever that I'm going to talk here is, I assume that you've done the fundamental, okay, or you done your a check, and you think that this particular REITs, right, it's going to grow better, okay. But a lot of REITs right now, all right, and when I look at it, right, I want to look at it from the long term, a longer term type of a chart point of view. Okay, so what do I mean by a longer term chart point of view, right? As I said, right now we are towards the end of the quarter. Okay, then next month is going to be the start of the quarter, right? So in this price chart here, the REITs has been going down. This particular REITs, which is Mapletree Pan Asia. Okay, the code is N2IU, Mapletree Pan Asia. It has commercial properties. It has shopping malls, commercial offices. Yeah, it has offices, and is a merge between the North Asia, MNAC. Yeah, if I don't remember wrongly the name. All right, where North Asia had quite a lot of Chinese shopping malls, as well as the Hong Kong Festive Walk, right? And Pan Asia has Vivo City. Okay, Vivo City. Yes, I remember that right now. All right, now for the past quarters, okay, I'm just do a simple observation. All right, for the past quarter, prices are all, red color. Simple way of looking at price, isn't it? Okay, red color, and this time round is perhaps the first time with a green color. Okay, so that's simple enough, isn't it? We just have to observe the colors of the candlestick. No joke, right? So this is a very simple way of observation. Of course, then when I pull out this, I have my reason of doing so. Okay, based on support levels, there's a support level here, and then probably there's a resistance that turned into a support level. All right, but it's probably the first time that these REITs it's turning a green color. Okay, what is the meaning of the green color? It just says that at the start of the quarter versus towards the end of the quarter, the mood changed. Okay, the start of the quarter, it opens at the low price, okay, which is somewhere around here. So this is the low price here. And towards the end of the quarter, which is actually coming to the end of the quarter already, right? It is closing higher than the start of the quarter. Okay, this is really a no-brainer. But for the past, 6 quarters, okay, 6 quarters will be 1.5 years. It had been actually closing lower than the open, but this time around is the first time we are seeing that it is right now at the green color bar here. Okay, now that's the first thing to look out for. All right, simple. Right. The second thing is perhaps, right, to switch that into a line chart, right, and just to observe in terms of the highs and lows. Okay, highs and lows means that you just wanted to have the price point where price can make a higher low. Okay, what is the higher low here? For the month chart is a bit difficult, but let's take a look a little bit at the week chart, weekly chart. Okay, now just get my pen. All right. Price has been forming this lower high and a lower high thing, right? Okay. And then here it's like a lower low. Okay, low and a lower low, right? Okay. Now there was previously an occasion that it tried to form about the same low and it tried to reverse. Okay, but why wasn't I interested at that point of time? Because then prices wasn't at the strong levels I was looking at. Okay, and of course, right, the quarter hasn't turned green yet. Okay, so this time I get interested because the quarter is showing green. We just have a few more days, okay? I mean, nothing should change in these 7 days, hopefully, right? But if at the end of the 7 days it turned back into red, then that's it, no more already, all right? Therefore, on the possible ground that it might be a green, all right, for the quarter close, then these can be viewed as a possible low, okay, that is higher than the previous one here. Okay, then therefore a simple way is to just look for a price to go higher than the previous high for confirmation of the reversal pattern. Okay, so that's one way to look at it. Now the other way to look at it, right, is if you are generally if you are generally just wanting to get some income from REITs, okay, because then of course you're not buying near the high, you just generally want to get some income from the REITs, okay. And I said before that sometimes for these REITs, right, you just can't buy on a confirmation. You have to probably just fish and feed the bottom and fish for the bottom. Okay, of course, then I'm not fishing for falling knife. I'm just like fishing near the bottom. All right, and if this is the case on the ground that that there's a green color coming in for the quarter bar, right, then you might want to fish, okay, for the bottom. Okay, that means that fish for bottom means that you queue, okay, because there are few bottoms that's appearing here. For example, this was the previous bottom, all right, at 1.5 plus, okay, and then this was another bottom, all right, at 1.6 something, all right, and then you might just want to fish for that bottom and hope that that bottom might cut. Okay, all right. That's the question of whether the current banking issue, right, would affect the REITs. If there is a crisis, okay, that means that not only is a banking issue, it turned out to be a crisis where you are talking about 0809, or you're talking about 1997 crisis. I'm talking about crisis, not a normal movement in the market. Okay, like some major banks, pop, no more already. And it doesn't only happen to US, it happens to Europe as well, right? Or maybe after merging UBS with Credit Suisse, and then both UBS and Credit Suisse, all boom, okay? That's a crisis, right? Then everything would be affected on fear, all right? That means that everything will be affected on fear, but once people gain back its sanity, okay, that means that they recover and say, okay, let's focus, right? Let's look and let's not move on fear, right? Then I would think that the REITs would be the first one to bounce. Okay. Therefore, I say we assume that a normal market condition here. All right. Okay. And then you're looking at a possible rates tapering, not really rising. All right. And then those which are badly bitten previously, which will be the REITs, and will be here to benefit. Okay, so that's my opinion here. Of course, then I can't provide any financial advice, so it's just purely my opinions for sharing. All right, so I can be totally very wrong. All right. Okay, now this one here. Do I think that the Fed has already taken preemptive strike by starting indirect QE? Yes, the indirect QE has already started. Whether it is enough, whether it's enough, and that's one key question. Okay, and if it really needs to blow, like what we saw in '08 and '09 for Lehman, it has to blow. It can only, you can only cover the fire with paper, right? For a while only. Okay, assuming that it's really a fire and assuming that whatever effort you're doing is paper. Okay, all right. Therefore, if we assume that money has been in fact invested, right, then the banks are telling you right now, okay, you go for quality corporate bonds. Okay, why bonds? Okay, because the bonds prices, they are badly affected, okay, because of rising rate. You just take your money to go and buy the treasuries, which are safer than corporate bonds, right? So for the past 2 years, during that rising rate environment, the bonds prices been dropping. Okay, now if one is to buy the bond now, you get that low price in the bond because the bond prices has been dropping, and you get that high yield because the relationship between the bond and the price, they are inversely related. You have that high yield and you have the low price. Now in a falling interest rate, then what will happen, right? Then the bonds price will go up and the yield will go down, but you already lock in the yield. So, by buying the bonds right now. Okay, so a lot of all these banks are asking their customers to buy bonds. It doesn't mean that I agree with that. Okay, but this is what's happening. But the other way, if you don't want to buy the bonds, all right, then during where bonds was the much hotter period, then the REITs became also quite hot as well. Okay, and that's probably the other way to look at it. All right. Okay, now what you can do is, let's say for example, you're interested in certain REITs, you just go to the month chart, okay, all right, and previously last quarter, that means last quarter, I already highlighted some of the REITs are turning up, becoming like a green color. So for example, this one here became a green color last quarter. I the first time that I did on the REITs video was October 26th or 28th. All right, and that became like a green color on this December close, and right now the green color continue. Okay, and what is nice about this and the current setting is, of course, we need to wait for another seven more days to confirm the quarter close, right? And the quarter close should be quite substantial. Okay, what is nice is that we have this wash and rinse here, so therefore this one is a wash, and you know that this one was a rinse, right? And what is happening in this quarter is, potentially for price to close above the previous high, and this will become like a typical candlestick pattern. Okay, so therefore, all right, to look into the REITs is to look at the quarterly chart, the candles, and then ask yourself whether there is a change in colors. Okay, so there are some REITs that doesn't change in colors, okay, that they are still the same. All right, for example, this one here, okay, it doesn't change color, it's still red color. Okay, still red color. It doesn't have that green color coming in yet. So there are some REITs which are weaker, okay, than the others. All right. Okay, this question here, referencing back to Hong Kong and China, would I think that it's already supported currently in view or rotation play? I would think that anything would be just a short-term play in my view. I've been talking about short-term play, right, for a month already, before the banking crisis. Okay, before even SVB blew. Okay, I've been talking about short-term play. My reason for short-term play was because of we are in a turning point of the interest rate, and I covered that from last year, October November period, when I talk about the yield curve inversion. All right, and I talk about the yield curve inversion again during Jan market outlook. Now, right now, what we are seeing here, right? Okay, and I talk about it also before. in the alien room session, all right, is the U, all right, and that pretty much also moved yesterday, and that's the U, the short-term U turning down already. Okay, when and it's not in a gentle manner. It's actually in a quite a steep manner here. Okay, this is that steep manner. I talk about this one here because the 2-year U is turning down in a steep manner, and that and is merging, coming close, right, with the 10-year U. This gives the market, the bond market, a bit of a suspicion, all right, of this U steepening, all right. In other words, right, based on the current condition here, all right, then we are expecting probably Fed to really cut rate already. Okay, that means that if that 2-year U continue to go down, right? Whatever is being said in the market, the 2-year U continue to go down and to come closer with the 10-year, all right? The other words means that we are having a rate cuts very soon. Okay, but I said also before, okay, if you remember my slide, previously in the past 30 years, okay, a Fed rate cut was always preceded by a crisis. Okay, there was no exception. Okay, in the past 30 years, there was always a crisis after an aggressive rate hike before a rate cut. Okay, all right. Now, in view of this, then the only solution that I decided for myself is that if I want to buy, then I jolly well buy at a discount. Okay, that means that what are the discount, right? A 20% discount, a 30% discount, a 40% discount, a 50% discount. Whatever it is, if my starting point is at the low, then I'll be able to hold on to it. And when it gets lower, I'll be able to actually buy more. Okay, so that means my answer to you is I really do not know whether it is supported or whether it's a rotation play. Because nobody knows, right? We are not in the core of whatever that's happening. We don't have that privileged information. Whatever that you hear from anybody else, all right, it's just an opinion, even myself. Okay, but my action would be, I don't care what's that opinion. My opinion can change, right? I said before, whether it's today, tomorrow can change already. It can flip, right? But, to buy it needs a correction. 20, 30, 40, 50, something like that. Okay. All right, I would talk about the hand holding thing. I just wanted to quickly, right, flip into what we are doing in terms of trading the FX. Okay, and it had been a very, very good year for us in trading the FX. In fact, all right, and this is what I've been encouraging for the past 1 year. Okay, I'm encouraging anybody interested in stocks to do the stocks, and that's my session that I've been covering, but to also do the intermarkets, which is to be in the currencies. Okay, when the stocks doesn't move well, then you move on to the currencies. When the currency doesn't move well, you move on to the stocks. Okay, you have a lot more options here. All right, you choose whichever has the least path of resistance. Okay, now there are a lot of changes that we made in terms of our trading, all right, and including, for example, what you see here is my screen, where we have this panel that pop up, okay, which called a dashboard, that give us basically the signals. Okay, and it's easy because we don't need to look for the signals ourselves. We just let the signals come to us, and that signals come to us every 4 hours, minus the first 4 hours and the last 4 hours. That's pretty much our active time, active hours. All right. Therefore, the last signal came at 1 o'clock, the moment I start the trade, and it's mostly about Kiwi. Okay, so it's more like to say that Kiwi could be strengthening. Okay, why is that so? Because we have the pound Kiwi as a sell, and then we have the Kiwi dollar as a buy, because we know that the dollar is looking very bad right now. Okay, I don't want to touch the dollar, but just wanted to just quickly highlight, I won't touch the dollar index, but I just want to quickly highlight this one here. Okay, and I would usually talk about just get rid of this. I would usually talk about dollar versus CNH. When I think they are at a very important turning point or important level here. All right, let's go inside the day, and then we just continue to go, and we just move into the week chart. Okay, uh, I like that. How to say? I like that retracement trade. That means that every time when it retraces, and I pick like high to sell. All right, after price had moved down. So that's always one of the type of trade style that I look for. Okay. Now, in fact, that this level was one of the levels I brought up. Okay, but if you just want to maybe maintain the positions and then to keep it there for a while, all right, and just by looking at the maybe like the economic prospect of the two different anti countries. Okay, that means why do I say anti? I'm not saying that they are not agreeable to one another. Anti means that most of the time, okay, in history, when US rate hike, the China would cut rate. Okay, and then if the US is going to cut rate, China would hike. Okay, and that has been very true. So we saw, like, for example, last year, right, when China was aggressive, for US was aggressively hiking rate, China was there happily cutting its rate. Okay, in other words, if you look at right now, okay, where US could be seen as pausing rate or in fact cutting rate, right, then the best way is to look into the dollar versus CNH, where perhaps that the dollar CNH the China would do the reverse already, right, because they have been actually reducing the bank reserve ratio, and then they might, fundamentally make a change to increased rate. Okay, so therefore, this is what the market is probably looking at right now, apart from the yen. So the yen, to me, strengthening is still on. It's just a matter of time. Okay, I was looking at personally in April, but let's take a look at this one here first. Okay, now in terms of the weekly chart, right, the week is going to close, and therefore the wash and rinse for this one will happen here, right, because there was a close above the previous high, all right, and then priced sort of like had a bit of a close below that green line, and right now towards the end of the week is actually coming down. Okay, that to me it's something to look at, because we have the week wash here. All right, throughout the anticipation, the wave of FOMC, dollar versus CNH, right, have been hovering around the week wash, and finally yesterday and today, right, it continued that downward movement. Okay, of course, then if you are taking what the signal of tall, all right, then I'll be front running you, because I already had a short. So therefore, please treat whatever that I'm saying here, right, as just a personal opinion, just talk about it for fun. Okay, but that bearishness is already setting in, and is looking at to close some of the previous low here. All right, of course, then if price can retrace back up to the week wash, that would be even better, because then you will get it at a better price. All right, but to me, I'm just seeing the whole thing, all right, as probably a massive, massive, this one here, which is this one, and this one here. It's like ugly, massive head and shoulder pattern. Okay, all right, and if you are shorting near here, all right, you are probably shorting near to the top of this head and shoulder pattern. So that's the first thing I'm seeing. All right, and the second thing is, of course, okay, to see it as a near term. Okay, I mean trend reversal. What is a near term trend reversal? That means that not here, this movement here, right, is a uptrend, right, and then we have a bit of a like a hit and show like a double top here. All right, then currently this part here is that lower low, and then this part is the low here. All right, and therefore if price can move up here, and that would become a lower high, and it's just coming in as a trend. All right, therefore with this, it's not surprising we're gonna just have like maybe, all right, a play into weak dollar. But as a disclaimer, I want to say, right, as a disclaimer, the weak dollar is a very obvious trade. Okay, very obvious trade. But a lot of time, the true move, right, will only come a few days after the FOMC meeting. Okay, meaning that we saw previously that the true move, okay, after the FOMC was not during the day of FOMC, but a few days later. Okay, therefore, I'm just looking at few trades here, all right, and not planning really a lot for long term, and waiting for at least for this week to close. Okay, all right. Now, any questions before I move on to talk about the hand holding cost and the top loss? For those who hasn't joined us yet, I do in fact have a very good news to announce. Any other questions? Okay, now I just want to take like a few minutes to go through what I have offered here, what we have offered here, right? If you look at our website, it has sort of changed. Okay, the key thing that we are offering right now is this hand holding, and it's right now launched already. The reason why I didn't announce it was because I want to announce it here. All right, and I didn't want to make a announcement like in the web, right? I thought that I just want to do a bit of a slow announcement. Okay, if you can just go to our website to look at it. Okay, but the whole idea is the value is something which I think you want to take it. Okay, because all right, the total value for the cost refund, all right, in top plus, this top plus, right, is that we are combining three things. Okay, that means therefore is a plus. You have the TOR 2 module, okay, and that's refunded $700, right? You have the 12 months hand holding, that's $500, and that's refunded as well. Okay, so $1,200 refunded. And you have the $500 loss cover. Therefore, if you make a loss of $500, right, maximum $500, up to $500, right, you have the loss refunded as well. In other words, what's the total amount that's refunded is $1,700. The cost fee, $700 refunded. The hand holding, $500 refunded. Plus the cost fee includes your 12 months, the alien room. All right, and plus the $500 loss cover. Okay, now, but there are some conditions to meet. All right, what is required is that this $1,700 is only offered by XC, so you need to have an XC account, not offered by another broker. Okay, only XC. And that account must come from us because I'm paying a part of it. I explain how this works, right? Basically, you receive an Apple share, you keep the Apple share. No, I can receive my Apple share, I pass it all to you. All right, so that's how it works. The minimum funding, if you take a TOR 2 is 2,000, but you take a TOR plus, right, it's 5,000. Okay, why it is like that? Because they come with a total value of 1,700, and therefore you need to give them a little bit more. And anyway, this is your money. You have the right to withdraw. Okay, but you need to show a gesture. All right. Therefore, if you take a TOR plus, that's $5,000 refund. The good thing is that you only need to fulfill 2 lots in Forex. And the nice thing is because of the loss cover, If you make a loss of that 2 lots and it's covered with the loss cover, you get the point here? Okay, let's say for example, we open one standard lot and close it immediately, I lost $20, right? I open another standard lot and I close it immediately, I lost $20. Now this total $40 loss will be covered in the loss with in loss cover. That is the difference here right now. Okay. Sorry, I talked too excited, choke already. Then we have this R here. All right. This one, if you had already the TOR 2, right? Okay. And you had it refunded, or you have the TOR 2, you don't need to pay for the TOR 2 again. You just pay $500. All right, for the R, $500, right? And what you have is you have that coaching refunded, $500 refunded, and you have the loss cover. So it's a total value of $1,000. But in order to do that, you need to top up $3,000. Okay, that means that you need to top up whatever money you have, right? You need to top up $3,000 to show the gesture. And what they will do is that they would be able to give you that $1,000. Okay, again, that the $3,000 is your money. You use it to trade, or you can withdraw it later on. All right, so there is no restriction on that $3,000. It's just that you have to show the gesture first. The only problem is, right, if you are taking the R, which is the hand holding program, separately from TOR 2, that means that you had already a TOR 2, you met that 2 lots, right? And right now you want to take the R. You have to fulfill that 2 lots again, which is under here. Okay, that means you have to meet that 2 lots again. So therefore, in total, you have to do 4 lots. But again, that extra 2 lots, right? The loss will be covered by the loss cover. All right. Okay. Now, therefore, I hope that you can take it. Why? Because the deal is hard to get, and there is a timeline for the deal to happen. Okay, especially for that loss cover. Okay, you have up to 90 days to try to make as much money as you can, right? So that you don't need to have a loss covered. But if you happen to lose money, all right, then at least you have $500 loss covered. Okay, all right. Who is holding your hand? Myself lah, and I've gotten Pauline to help you. All right, so Pauline will be the key, but I'll be there to help you. Okay, and I think that the hand holding would we have come up with lessons, and the key thing of this hand holding is actually to put in the trade together. All right, to put in the trade. And we have arranged what we call an access time. That means that, let's say, every day, all right, there will be an access time to access us. Access us is the right word to use. To go to Telegram, we start a video chat, and then we talk about it. You know, yeah. Okay, so that's how we do it. All right. Okay. If I have 5K in the funding, do I have to top up 3K? Yes, you have to. Okay, so that's more like because the compliance worded that as a price, so you have to top up and then you get this priced. Okay, so it's always like that. Huh? All right. So you have to do that. So that's part of the regulation. Are trainers from Maxi? No, it's our own. But because of us paying part of the deal, and for us also having a strong relationship with them, all right, we are able to get this deal. Okay, they make me agree on certain terms as well in order to get this deal. So therefore, don't see that as a free lunch. I have to sacrifice quite a bit in order to have this $1,700 in total deal. All right, I have to agree to one term that usually I would not agree. Okay, I won't review why is that term, but it's not a good term for me, right? In my being industry for about, I think, 18 years, I have not agreed ever on this term before. All right, but this time around, all right, I actually agreed. Therefore, I think it is a good deal. Okay. There's no face-to-face thing. We are, in order to be very how to say, prompt, all right, we are using a lot on Telegram. Okay, that means that we are calling for video call immediately whenever we see something on Telegram. All right, and then we are broadcasting that to Telegram, whenever we see something. That allows us to be faster. But we are going to incorporate also technical access. That means that if we do have technical things, we're going to have to allow for technical access, right? Okay, quick question. Does it mean that signing for both XC and Blue market? Does it mean signing for both XC and Blue? No, you don't need to sign for both. You sign for one. If you want to take, for example, if you want to take the top loss or the hand holding, all right, you go down to this FAQ. You will realize that the hand holding, right, is exclusive, limited to XE account holder only. Okay, or even when you go to the top loss, you will find that it's only for a certain provider. That means only certain. Okay, not all. Right. Let me just see. It should be mentioned up here where only XE provide this cost refund, loss cover, and the R program. Okay, only XE. Blueberry doesn't. Right. Okay, let me see this one. It has to be 3 trades per week. If you don't want to, it has to be 3 trades per week for 12 months. No, these are the 3 trades per week are something that we come up with, for you. That means that minimum, we are going to at least come up with 3 trades for you so that at least you potentially can have the chance to make money. If you don't want to continue after 8 months into the hand holding, then you don't continue, no? Because you just don't appear. I mean, we won't know. But what happened is that you already paid us the cost fee and you already had that $500 refunded to you. To you, right, is no loss, okay? Because that $500 is refunded to you. But what if you find yourself having a renewed opportunity or another instrument to trade? All right, then that becomes a chance for you, an opportunity, right? And of course, we have the loss cover, so really, there's no loss to you in a way. Yeah, we even had that loss cover. How many students in the group? There is no how many students in a group. Okay, there is this access time. All right, and I don't think that it's gonna be many people. All right, in one group, we would answer all your questions. That means that we have different trainers appearing in the access time. We have even a tech people to come in to address your tech problem in each of the access time. All right, anything that you post up, we will just address there. All right, most important is to answer question like, for example, just now there was a trade in pound kiwi. Okay, should we take the trade, and what are the things you need to consider? All right, what are the things that you might miss out? Okay, and then if your trade goes sour, then how do you manage that? Okay, now treat it as everything all covered. All right, and then you are scared of trading. That means you are scared of trading, right? Why are you scared of trading? Number one, you don't know anything. Number two, you're afraid of losses. Number three, you just have no guts, no courage. Then the hand holding serve all these 3 purposes. All right. Okay. Now, how would be the loss cover determined? All right, let's say, for example, okay, scroll down to this place here, which is about the loss cover, right? And then we explain it. Therefore, the loss cover will be covered by XC of up to Sing dollar for a period of 90 days. Now, this means that from the point you fund your account with the additional $3,000 or $5,000, all right, to 90 days, okay, to 90 days, right? If you make a loss of $300, that $300 on that 90 days, right, would be given back to you in your account. Okay. Now, if you make a loss at the end of the 90 days, you make a loss of $700, right? Then at the end of 90 days, that $700 will not be given because maximum only 500, right? That $500 will be given to you in your account. Therefore, your net loss is $200. Okay. Now, let's say, for example, during the first 30 days, you made a loss of $500. You say, what should I do then? Should I quickly end the loss cover promotion? You have the right to write to them and we'll approve on a case-by-case basis, and usually it will be approved. Okay. That means you're just going to be covered for that $500 and loss, that's it. And then for the rest of the period, you won't be covered anymore. Okay. Now think of that loss cover, right, as a cushion for you, all right, as a backup cushion for you, right, potentially to make more money. Okay. Because what's the biggest problem of us not making money? Okay, not because we are not good. It's always the fear of losing. But what if you have someone is there, right, to cover your loss? Then that fear can be removed. All right. Of course, then when I put in this loss cover, sometimes you say, okay, let's go all the way. All right. Since the loss is covered, that's not supposed to be like that. It's really to help you break through that first barrier, right? Students who have done TOR, in order to do the hand holding, you pay 500. Yes, you pay 500, you top up 3,000. That's it. Fulfill that 2 lots volume. All right. But let's say, for example, if you never claim the money from XC before, okay, that means you don't have an XC account, you never claimed for XC before, right? It makes sense to do the top last. Okay. Okay. Assisting student possible to get hand holding? Yes, just pay the $500. Top up 3,000. And loss cover? Yes. What might be the subsequent recurring charges? $500 if I never increase the price. But you won't get the loss cover and you won't get the cost refund. Okay, $500 for the hand holding, and then $576 for the alien room. And by the way, I haven't even increased the alien room prices. Other people increase so much already. Inflation also hit in already. I think I should increase prices. Okay, will there be a procedure to report the losses to XC? No. Okay, but the key thing, right, must be you must make sure that your account come from us. Okay, because this is your responsibility. Because let's say, for example, you think that I apply for an XC account, all right, and happily you fund $3,000. Happily you go and clock your losses. End of the day, your account doesn't come from us. All right. And how do you know that your account comes from us? You're able to get back the $500, or you just write into partner support and then check, okay, does my account belongs to TerraSys? Does it come from TerraSys or OFM? Ask them to confirm. Your account must come from us. Okay, if it doesn't come from us, right, then no, all right, you can't get the deal. Okay, so this is something where a lot of students, oops, all right, I clocked the loss in account A, all right, and then account A doesn't come from us. I cannot pay for it. Okay. And no deal. You have to start a new account in account B, and a B must come from us. Okay. Now, once this happens, 90 days automatically ends already, right? XC will put back the money within 24 hours to 48 hours. Okay, but there is one clause inside, XC, depending, because there's a lot of admin issue here. All right, so there's one clause inside. XC has up to 30 days, right, to cover your losses, to put the money in. But if you can help them by saying, okay, my 90 days is up, I make the losses, all right, I'm coming from TerraSys, this is my account number, can you please put in the losses within 24 to 48 hours, partner support will give you back the losses. And please, right, for our students, I repeat once again, do not contact the general line, only go to partner support. All right, I get more students, so no what, public transport also increase, my employee fees also increase, everything all increase. I want to increase price. Okay, I haven't claimed back the $700 yet. So with this cost, I need to do 4 lots and claim back a total of 1,000 to confirm. Yes, correct. And the nice thing is, Marcus, your 4 lots now all be covered. Yeah, that's the nice things. All right. Oh, no, okay, it depends. Sorry. The loss cover will only start counting when you fund another $3,000 in. Okay. So previously, let's say, for example, you previously traded, right? You incur a loss of $100. That one not covered. You will start from the day of the funding of this extra 3,000. Then from there, count 90 days. Then that's covered. Okay. How to write to partner support? Everything is all here. Everything is in our FAQ. Okay, right? You just write to partner support, and then everything will be there. Okay, either the terms here or the FAQ. You just refer to the FAQ. How do you claim for that? How do you qualify for the cash refund? Okay, and you just have to write for the respective managers. Remember, TOR plus, anything that comes with the loss cover, okay, loss cover will have to be from XC. No other brokers, XC. Is the cost, let me see, is the cost and funding all in US? No, in Sing dollar, all right, in Sing dollar, but can be equivalent. Let's say, for example, we have a lot of students from UAE, a lot of students from Malaysia. They fund in USD. We have also a lot of students from Australia. They fund in AUD. By the way, you guys are very fortunate because the offer is not offered to certain countries. Okay, please read the TNC. If you are in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, blah blah blah, you qualify. But if you are from New Zealand, from Australia, from US, and certain parts of Europe, no, you don't qualify. Okay, for the refund. We have a lot of Australian students who came to us and they all don't qualify. Okay, the course starts now. You can register now. Right? Try to pay via bank transfer. Then it helps me to save a lot of money on transaction charges. You don't need to furnish your trade history. All right, you just have to give them your membership details, which we will send it to you in an email attached. You just have to make sure that your account comes from us. Okay, use our link. That's really a very important criteria. And you have to fund your account, trade the 2 lots. And right now with loss cover, right, you don't really need to don't really need to just buy sell. You can really trade within that 90 days for the loss to be covered. Okay, it must be partner support. That means you cannot write to XC. You must write to partner support at xc.com. If they doesn't reply you come to me. All right. Then as long as you CC us, no issue. The 5K funds must be new funds. Okay. All right. Unfortunately, you have to understand how the compliance works. They give you a price, which is this refund. You must show them a sincerity by giving them new fund. but there is no restriction in you withdrawing the old funds. Okay, don't say I say one. Okay. All right. No other questions. I will end the session. All right. I hope that you give me a little bit of feedback, because today's session took a little bit more because I want to answer for the hand holding. All right. But the whole idea is that if you there is a end date for this promotion. That means that we are monitoring this promotion. Okay, because you realize that the entire deal is 1,700. That's a lot of money. Okay. Other people might charge you $2,000 for a course fee, for $3,000, something like that. I give you back that $1,700, and you know that it is not a scam. Okay, when I say it, I make it true, and it happens. All right. Do note the end date, because XE is monitoring this. End of the day, if there's not a lot of responses, not a lot of takers, then really no point to come out with this deal. All right. Second is that if you can do to help me, all right, is to spread to your friends. Because I said before, right, for 18 years, I never agreed to one term. And this time round, in order to get the deal, I agreed to one term that I never agreed in 18 years, right? So therefore, please spread to your friends. At least that 1,700, right, is cotton back for you. All right. And I think that the loss cover is a very important psychological booster, I guess so. All right, to get all of you started. Okay. All right. So do spread to your friends and let them know to sign up, because that's just a fantastic deal. All right. Thanks a lot. I will see you again for some of you tonight. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.